All right, Mike, you got any hot takes for us on this NFL draft? We're going to kind of grade them as college fans.
I got a bunch. I think my biggest hot take though this year is that Dillon Gabriel is this year's version of either Russell Wilson or Brock Purdy or whatever, like mid-late round quarterback who just like becomes a good starter. I think Dillon Gabriel. I've watched him since his freshman year at UCF, and guys played nothing but good football. And compared to everyone else's draft class, they played a lot of football. No one's ever played more football than Dillon Gabriel entering the NFL. He started as a true freshman in high school, threw for more yards in Hawaii history than anyone else. Started as a true freshman at UCF, started more games in college football than anyone else. And every single stop, guys played good football. Now, it's 5'10.5", but I talked to this guy at the combine. His personality, his ability to just like be comfortable wherever he is unique, and it will play in an NFL locker room very, very quickly. Obviously, like the height is going to be the biggest thing talked about, but like his arm's good. It's better than Shadour's. He has good NFL arm talent. It's not elite, but it's better than a lot of guys being very successful around the NFL. So I just think he has it. And will he ever end up top 5 to 10 star in the NFL? Probably not. But if he's on a rookie deal and you draft him in the third round, if he's just giving you average NFL starter play, you're in a great spot to build a winner around him. So that's my probably biggest take, is I just think Dillon Gabriel has it.
Disagree. I think Dillon Gabriel's ceiling is NFL backup. Okay. And maybe he's a quality NFL backup, but I do not think he has enough zip in that arm to be effective at the next level. At least
I think it's stronger than Brock Purdy's,
consistently.
Right? Yep.
Is it?
I think it is.
I watched Dillon throw downfield, and I don't feel like there's a whole lot of zip in there. I feel like it's kind of Quinn Ewers-y.
He throws that Quinn Ewers go ball, or like that rainbow ball well to run under it. I will say, I think we talked about this in the coverage group chat when we had, it was him, Cade. Who was the guy who couldn't transfer to Auburn because he didn't have enough credits, and so we had to go crawling back to Liberty?
Caden Salter.
Caden Salter, right? And then, honestly, like I thought Gabriel threw it better than Cade and better than Salter that day, but I didn't think any of them looked anywhere near like the previous year. We had Daniels and a bunch of other guys out there. It was like, oh, this is how it's supposed to look, guys. Like this year, it was like, yeah, okay. I know Cam was not out there, obviously, and Shadour was not out there. I don't know. Like he's not wide either. Like he's a smaller frame dude. It's such an interesting draft class too, because I mean, like Ohio State kicked McCord to the curb, right? And Oklahoma was like, yeah, we're cool if Gabriel leaves. We like Jackson Arnold better, who they gave up on like five games into the season. I mean, it's wild that guys who had them on campus for a whole year and coached them were cool letting them go. I don't know what that says, but I don't hear, nobody bashes him. So I don't know. Maybe this works. All right, what else you got?
Gosh, what else do I have? I think Willie Lampkin's going to be a starting NFL center. I guess I'm going like all the short guys here, but the North Carolina guard, who
is tiny,
also 5'10".
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a starting NFL center. I'm not actually as worried about the height because he has long arms for his size. He actually has a bigger wingspan than Will Campbell, which is wild to think about. But it's the weight. I mean, he's 270. 270 is tough. I don't think there's been a guy that light along the offensive line in like 40 years. So he needs to get bigger in that regard. But if he gets to like 285, that's where, gosh, why am I blanking on his name? The Dolphin center is playing at. Aaron Brewer. He's playing in like the mid 280s. I think he can do it in the right scheme. I just see a guy who's he's the best on tape interior offensive lineman in terms of skill. Like he uses his hands well. He plays with great leverage, obviously. He runs his feet. Like he can move people off the line of scrimmage, even if he's not the most physically imposing guy. But I see enough that guy can start in the league. And again, it's going to take the right scheme. But I'm sold. I'm sold on him.
I just, like you said, the leverage, I just keep thinking of my high school coach telling me to get lower. And I'm like, well, Willie Lampkin's got that down pat.
Yes.
You know, he was a state champion wrestler at Lakeland. Willie was.
Yeah. Not surprising when you watch tape.
He wrestled at 285 or at the 285 and under weight class. So and went undefeated on the year. So like obviously the guy, he uses all of that 280 like very, very effectively. And he does have long arms. I remember, so that was when Jamie Chadwell was at Coastal, and they were super stoked to get him as a prospect. Kind of one of those kids they won't talk about like until the paper side. The under school could swoop in. Even when Carolina took him as a transfer from Coastal, they were still like a little like, he is tiny. Like, is this going to work in the ACC? So I guess you keep betting on a guy. And center is kind of a technique thing too.
Yep.
Like, I don't need to be a freak. I just need you to like know what you're doing and be able to react quickly in compressed area, I guess. You got to have some ass to you, but yeah.
You just mentioned Lampkin has longer arms than Campbell. And going back to what you were saying earlier with like tackles, does his arm length compared to his athleticism, where do you view him as a prospect?
Well, it's wingspan. I think they're actually about the same arm length, but wingspan, he's got a big wingspan. He's got much broader shoulders. And that's the bigger worry to me with Campbell. It's not that, 32 and a half. It's just that he can't get, when you have tight shoulders, short arms, your ability to just, your sphere of influence, how much you can react to an inside move is just so much more limited than a guy who's, they're a starting NFL offensive lineman who have a foot bigger wingspan than him. Just think about how much a foot can get you in either direction against, an NFL edge rusher that runs a 4.4. You're trying to block Chop Robinson. It's like he goes inside move on you and you can react quickly, but you just don't have the ability. You just don't have the just length from your center of mass to go get that guy. So that's the more worrisome thing to me, especially when going to the NFL, because I already saw it at times. I think the Texas A&M game when he faced, I'm blanking on his name. Who's the guy that came back Texas A&M? The edge rusher who's like twitched
Scourton?
up. No. The undersized
not
one.
Not Shamar. Oh, Turner?
No. Those guys are all in the draft here. It's whatever their third string defensive end is, who's like really tuned up, undersized guy. He struggled with him just even finding him. So I think that's my biggest worry. And because of that, I just think he will have a tough time at tackle. I think he's going to be awesome at guard, but I think he'd have a tough time at tackle.
Cassius Howell?
Yep. That's that one.
I remember at Future 50, so Walter Nolan came in like fairly good shape, and they were letting Walter Nolan rush off the edge, and he whipped Campbell. Like, and that's Walter Nolan. Who
I love Walter Nolan. So
hit him like when he's right, he's different. For sure.
Yeah, I love Nolan. He's 12th on my board. I think he's going to be awesome.
He's my number one DT in this class.
But
no, Graham. Number two. He's behind Graham.
Okay. Yeah, he's in my number 2 also.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to save the Michigan having 4 top 20 picks and having like a 5-loss season for something different. But Mike, what other hot takes you got here?
So everyone in this wants to talk in the safety class about Malachi Starks, Nicky Manwari. Love those 2 guys. Not going to denigrate them. I just think Kevin Winston Jr. for Penn State's in that mix. I think he is as good as those guys. I think he could end up being the best safety in this draft class. He just tore his ACL week 2, so you didn't get to see it. But there's a reason he's still declared. It's because sophomore tape was insane. And even that week 1 tape, you see a guy who comes downhill and tackles better than anyone else in the safety class. He is so physical. He is big, massive wingspan for a safety. I just love his tape. And it wasn't even a full tear of his ACL. I think it was a partial tear. I'm not sure that makes it any better. It's still an ACL, whatever. But I watch his tape and I'm like, that to me looks like a first-round safety. I can go in the first round because of the ACL, but I think it's a 3 triumvirate at the top of the safety class, and I put Winston in it.
I also think we're kind of reaching a point where you just kind of trust Penn State safeties. Like, they do a pretty good job of producing.
Developing them. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You put him on a team that runs a lot of cover too, because I don't know about the coverage stuff. I think that's kind of the question: does he get back to that level? But he destroyed the Mountaineers in that game. He was all over the field.
Yeah.
All right. We got time for what? Probably 2 more hot take. What are we going up in spice?
All right. I have Kyle Williams, the Washington State wide receiver, as top 50 player in this draft class. I can't believe I haven't seen a lot of hype for this guy, but he's got. You talk about like GPS numbers. His ability on a football field to move efficiently is better than whatever he tested. He ran a 4.4, whatever. But you watch him, it's just like he runs away from guys. No one can touch him at the line of scrimmage. He just reminds me so much of Darnell Mooney and his tape coming out of Tulane. And obviously Mooney was drafted 4 rounds too late. I think Williams is going to be drafted maybe a couple rounds too late. And it's just like, I didn't see a guy get open more often than Kyle Williams on tape this past year at Washington State. So at that point, I don't care if he's 5'9.5" or 5'10". I don't care if he's 182 pounds. The guy gets open on a football field. I'd love to have him on my team.
Where do you think he's going now?
I don't know. It's hard to project. And again, I haven't seen a lot of people I trust in evals. He's not even in their top hundreds. So I'd be surprised, I guess, if he goes day 2, maybe back into day 2, if I'm pumping his tires up enough and a couple of my buddies who are with teams see it. But no, I don't. He could end up going day 3. I mean, Mooney went 5th round, so it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up going like 4th.
I guess the only thing I would push back on this is when he played the Power 5 teams they played, 1 catch, 21 against Texas Tech, 3 for 22 against Washington, and then he kills like a dead San Jose defense, 8 for 132. New Mexico, for a while, I had rated as the literal worst defense in the entire country.
Great for overs.
Right. God, yeah. Like, and I believe I had Kyle on my college fantasy team this year. That was very helpful. I was a big fan of his work. He did crush Syracuse in the bowl game, which I don't know. Like, I mean, bowl games to me are increasingly, I don't know about for evaluation purposes, but for like to get meaning as far as the team quality, I don't really care about them as much. But man, also, if you're an Oklahoma fan listening to this, you're not like super in love with the idea that maybe Mateer had like a sneaky second round quality guy he was throwing to against Mountain West competition, because then you kind of start to think about Mateer a little bit, like what is he really? That's interesting. All right, last one, we'll get you out of here. Really appreciate you coming on. Everybody needs to listen to Pushing the Pile. Awesome show.
All right, I mean, I got a bunch in this class just because I think it's all over the map, the evals and stuff. But I'll just say that I think Travis Hunter is a wide receiver at the next level. I think you're just wasting value to not play him at wide receiver. I think he's on par, maybe not on par just because he didn't play there full time, but like as far as the athlete is, he's on par with guys like Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Roman Dunze from last year, the way we talked about those guys. I think he's that. He has unbelievable ball skills. And now ball skills are great at corner. Obviously, that leads to picks. Ball skills are also great at wide receiver. And like he dropped, I think, 3 passes his entire collegiate career. Truly like Larry Fitzgerald level of locating the football in the air. Why would you want that, 7 times a year, 6 times a year to happen at corner instead of 120 times a year at wide receiver, where that guy could really separate himself? So, and you just look at how much wide receivers get paid versus how much corners get paid. It's like a $10 million difference. So I'm using him at wide receiver. Obviously, he wants to play both, but like his main focus, in my opinion, would be at wide receiver. He's just so good at that side of football. I'm
not mad about it because I get it, but I think that Travis will be a top 10 corner the minute he's on somebody's roster. And
I'm not. He's insane. He's insane.
Yeah, I do wonder. Like, do you think it plays a role? Because we talked about how like kind of lackluster this wide receiver class is. Do you think the overall grade on the wide receiver class might be pushing you more towards like, shit, this guy should just play wide receiver?
Yeah, especially if he's there for you and you're the Patriots, right? If it's number 4 overall, say it goes Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Shedeur Sanders. You draft him and play him at wide receiver, right? You have corners there. You just signed Carlton Davis. You had Christian Gonzalez. Yep. You're not passing on Travis Hunter to go Mason Graham, right? Or go elsewhere. So you're drafting him and you're playing him at wide receiver because that's your need, and he's that good at it.
Does it depend on who takes him? Because like I don't think I've ever seen a guy play like that good, like zone coverage. I kind of liken him like a great base stealer in baseball who just takes a lead that's just absurdly large. Like there's no way you should be that off the bag, but he gets away with it. And I mean, you would see him. I've probably seen this kid play not thousands, but like high hundreds of reps of 7-on, where it's just coverage and like he's just kind of freelancing thing, but like still gets over there and makes some. Back when we had Vine, I think we had Vine back when he was a sophomore. Anyway, like I remember like some of these early vertical reels, they went nuts. It was like he's not even on the frame, and he comes in just making these diving picks all the time. I think I'd want to play him as a zone corner full time, and then like I don't think he's a 4-3 guy. I don't think he's crazy. I think he's quicker than he is fast as far as long speed. I'd like to play him in the red zone because I think he's a really good jumper, and I think his hands are great. Like, I'd like to be like a zone corner, and you get red zone reps. That way I don't have to worry about you practicing with the offense, and you don't have to block all that much.
100%. Like, his man coverage is not special. You go back to the J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain class. Those guys were man corners. He's not as good as them in man coverage, but he is the best zone corner I've seen. Like, just his ability to midpoint zone, 2 routes and then break on one and like sell a quarterback on throwing to one that he knows he's going to go to, and just being like so many high level reps. They're just like, damn, I'm intrigued by that. I want that in my defense. But also it's like, man is traditionally the more valuable skill set. Teams go towards man corners. That's how CJ Henderson goes 9 overall, just because the thought that he could be a man corner. Right. So yeah, again, and like people have asked franchises like, where do you have him evaluated at? Which is dumb, because if they have 3 starting wide receivers, they're obviously going to have him evaluated as a corner. If you have 3 starting corners, you're going to have his evaluated as a wide receiver. It's just like, that's how the NFL works. So I do think it's going to be team by team. But again, like, if I'm looking at the teams that are up there, and if it's the Patriots, I think he's a wide receiver for them.
Do you like him as a yak guy? Like, when the ball in his hands, I don't know that I've ever thought he's like crazy NFL level special. Like, I think getting the ball into his hands, he's elite at. I don't know about with it in his hands, if he's a guy I'm like, I have to find creative ways to get him the ball.
No, I don't think he's Malik Neighbors level. I think he's good, capable. But also, I do think once he gets to the NFL, you'll see a guy get a lot stronger. To be in the shape he was in, to play the snaps he did, you can't maintain muscle mass the way you need to at the NFL level to not get hurt, right? So I think he'll put on about 10 more pounds, and that should help him be a better weapon after.